Green, the owner and as well as the head grower of Lovena Green Farms, a cannabis cultivation facility based out of now Newberg, Oregon, which I had to be corrected on. That's just outside of Portland. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks for great. I look forward to this. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, we're super excited to have you. Would you like to give your, couple minute elevator pitch? Would you like to tell us any background or credentials that got you into this industry?
Sure, we can do a little bit of both. So here at Lovena facilities, so special cannabis, flower. We started in the rec. We actually started in the medical. I did started in 2009 in the Oregon medical market. As things progressed and we saw legalized there to move into an actual, become a commercial business, and that's when so we've been of the Oregon rec market 2015.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, cool. So what got you into cultivation in the first place? What made you decide to go into cannabis?
Let's see here. That goes back to 2000. I mean, growing up generally in Oregon, is growing up. You kind of, or your dad or somebody had it around cannabis forever. But what got me life, what I think that many people is your future. What is your purpose going to be? And I was just trying a little bit of everything. And a friend of mine, a grower and pretty successful at it, and I'm going, look like you got the life there. You're comfortable living. You're always on. I had no idea what I was getting. I knew I wanted in. I wanted to know what is this about. We all had already had. I want to know what the cultivation was. All it was, So after Brent finally gave me a run at it in his basement, and we looked.
Nice.
Man, you can't be.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a very fun adventure.
Yeah, and that's set up a little grow in a 10 by 10 base. Man, from the moment we set those lights, I was hooked. That was it. Mm-hmm. I knew this is going to do and nothing else. And we are today making it happen.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. It seems like, definitely a unique market. Oregon's definitely different from the Washington market, and it's more challenging, it seems, just because there's such a high competition. There's not a big cap on how many cultivation facilities there are. Is that right?
So they're as of this past year, 24. It isn't. You could say there's been some miss, and Oregon kind of saw this one where they had a little overproduction issue, down temporarily. But when it came, we were at a time with the reissuing of licensing was COVID hitting, and big boom and again production. So fast forward 2 years, and we were back in 2016. So it is rough. We're hoping to see some common sense as far as the regulatory body goes. It's time. I think Oregon's probably got 2/3 too many. We can handle as much as we're producing.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's really hard to
kind of
become a
see,
profitable company when there's such a flooded market. Like I think last I was down there, I could buy 5 grams for like $20,
Mhm.
and that's pretty substantial,
Yeah,
especially when you're, I guess you don't have the responsibility of paying for the packaging, right? That falls to the dispensary. But otherwise, it's still not a very good margin for your, depending on your cost per gram. But you
no,
guys, yeah, you guys grow with LEDs and things like that. So there's a lot of ways that you're saving money and your cost per gram, right?
correct. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we focus on uh, lean our operations out during time challenging because
Mm-hmm.
you can't really build our almost put in a survival out until times
Mm-hmm.
get better. You see permanently, right? Because
Yeah.
you, so many companies, much much bigger, much more because they were, they're far more leveraged. It's been nicely growing with the producing. We're just producing what we can sell since day
Yeah.
one. But that's consumer. We weren't in this. It wasn't like, oh, how much can we want consumers to have a great experience. Consistency down. We want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
we it is scalable and we can maintain craft, which in our
Mm-hmm.
industry right now is a big conversation. Uh, you know, I I agree. Guys at times can do it better than a bigger guy. Experience based than anything else. I think we can
Yeah.
all. But we took time to focus on the consumer in mind. We want to make sure they have a great experience. We want to make
Yeah.
sure our products were smooth, that they
Mm-hmm.
and then we got all our little systems worked out. And today is now we're delivering that inside of the market.
Yeah.
At this point in the game, you've got to really better have a handle on your cultivation. Tough
Mm-hmm.
market
Yeah,
like
I totally
Oregon's.
agree.
It's one
But that's part of the reason
one.
you guys do a 2-tier stacking system as well, right? Because then that cuts down your cost per square foot if you're not paying for a single stacked room, paying that cost for your. Do you guys own or are you renting your facility?
Yeah, we do rent facility,
Mm-hmm.
but the 2-tier was I had been watching signs that, hey, things are going to tighten here, and so we've been doing things that are going to be a little, are going to be, and we've got to figure out how we're
Mm-hmm.
going to make that transition. Do the bigger players switch to LED? Should probably take a swing at this. So we actually will to maximize that spin out your costs, right? So the
Yeah.
more I can say my area of canopy get out of that space, that was in an existing building. So we had to retrofit building, and it happened to be through have the whole square footage of the place to begin with. We'd had built out with the old model that from
Yeah.
Aurora to Newberg with, and the building came available, and we said, hey, this worked out, so we can get a little and test this model and
Mm-hmm.
see if. And so then we ended up finished here. LED, we went with Fluent early on.
Mm-hmm.
Been very plug and play product. So
Yeah.
but we did 100% flower rooms. That's been a big help during times like this. More reliable. It
Yeah.
runs, and we do a little bit of heating in considerably, and it was a great product.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's do you find that there are certain cultivars that do really well in that environment? Have you found that there are any like strains that haven't been compatible with this new design that you're implementing, or is
Yeah.
pretty much everything that you grew before? Oh no, they didn't like it.
But not for the reasons that you the stretch of the plants. So
Okay.
so with the retrofit, we didn't have available to us. So we had to learn how to plant height into that if they're but we ultimately plants that just don't grow as tall. They don't perfectly in our system. And as far as the cannabis itself successful, other than you're going to get your cultivars that any grower will what they're running. It's just a difficult cultivar. Strains we absolutely feel are not good, not because they're not great strains. In certain environments like scale, you can't be being that love, that extra love. Spread that out to you, right? And
right. There are definitely strains that require either a ton of defoliation, or they require a ton of repeated scrogging, or they require, really precise watering sometimes. Some of them like really dry down unevenly by like over the same strain, and things like that just aren't great for a larger commercial cultivation system. Yeah, definitely. Honestly, scrogging was my hardest thing when I went to a two-tier. Just like figuring out how I was going to access the plants that were 4 feet away from me, that I couldn't, get to the other side of them, because I had 2 racks next to each other. And so, I could reach all the way across, but I couldn't, I couldn't like get in the middle.
Right. You got to be able to get around them. Right. It's that multi-dimensional thinking.
Yes.
One of the neatest things about, and at least in my lifetime, this will probably be, the I could partook in or partake. There was no blueprint for this one. There was an HVAC company or many other companies that have background to them. This one, it was all underground. Experience-based, it's networked.
Yeah.
It's very fun to be a part of, found it. But the biggest part I'm getting to is a standard book of how to build a grow. We're obviously dealing with different just building what we have available to us. It's really challenging. The white have the cultivar white. We're going to have to do that issue because it doesn't. Some like it, they're not drying evenly, but you nailed it. We just go through it the same way as you identify what's great, but checking the boxes of quality, color or smell, terpene profiles, and bag appeal. Then we got to add in these watering issues, these
the things that the consumer don't see.
But that's okay, because I want to show them the part. I like that part. That's the part I geek out in my days in the farm. You have to be able to be both up front and the cultivator, the farmer in the back, and in order for people to find what you're wanting them to find your product.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. How many strains would you say that you have on your menu at any given time, or how many mothers do you use? Mothers?
I do, and I actually have a system that I call selective on the production line. I'll actually plants when they're in the flower room before, usually the day or the day after they're put in there. We'll go through and take the cuttings at that time, and that's what we end up for.
It just doubles as lollipopping if you're doing it right. You're already going to cut those off, so you might as well use them as clone stock.
That was it. Years ago, we were doing this. And I was like, "Why are we throwing? Well, we're just lollipopping them." And I was like, "Man, Like we don't need that space over there.
Yeah.
If we're doing this, you know, the industry standard was, you're doing all this stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to do this. You got to remember, you know, it's hearsay. It's different levels of experience. I mean, and it's honestly, that's part of the decipher, right? And figure out what's it.
There are definitely some cultivars that won't clone when you use the lower branches. Like there are definitely some strains that if you want a cloning success, a high enough cloning success, you have to use apical meristems. But like for the most part, you can use, you know, most plants are going to allow you to use like any tissue and they'll be fine with their rooting success. But I mean, they're definitely there. Ewok, for example, I could never get Ewok to root when I did lollipopping cloning. Like I had to take tops. I had to take those little apexes.
Quality.
Yeah.
I looked at
something about the meristematic tissue. I don't know why.
I think it's the strength of the, usually you find that when you're talking about that, it's like this, like noticeably diameter smaller, inevitably weaker branches. So my model was very much, you know, 90-10. So, you know, I healthy cuts, but I averaged out with all our stuff, and you're at 100%. It can surprise you.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you're trying to, sometimes, you know, for us, it's like strain, and that's why I said like mother R&D room where we test the plants out. We make sure they're, you know, especially if we bring somebody. We love following breeders. That's you know, many people like cars. I follow breeders. I like project out. You know, but you know, so we'll, you know, if we find some, we will do our own seed hunt, you know, or we'll bring a clone in. We'll then bring them in the other room, and the point of getting those 1 or 2 or 3 plants to get your want everything you can get off that. So, you know, some and we know, you know, going into it, so we have a kind of but yeah, it is.
I imagine. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna one last little like grower's tip is absolutely important in your clone. If you're running like we run, so we use like a cloner, you know, so cleanliness will increase your success rate on clones. So that was on that when we did come across things that were not rooting or we're having troubles with, we could what we used in the cleaning process to like 100%. So create a sterile environment, your odds.
Yeah. What's your favorite cleaning solution? Because everybody has a hot take on cleaning solutions.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but it's bleach, guys.
Yeah.
I've used Zerotol.
I like Zerotol because it smells like pickles. I like the pickle smell. I don't like the smell of bleach. It's great.
No, it's terrible.
No, it's so good.
I know. I should getting in trouble now. It's the heart of your system, and if you know if you're not cloning at 90+%, you're not going to make it in production. We tried Zerotol, we tried peroxide, numerous, you know, cultural world that you know promotes. So just for the audience out there, we do use it because it kill fungus. You need to kill bacteria. You don't want this. You don't want this in your. I want everybody to be safe. I need my clones to take.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine because of the system that you're doing with the shorter canopy, you're using a lot more plants, which means you're reliant on like you said, that 80 to 90% success rate in cloning. So you really can't mess around with
Correct.
that. It'd be different if you were doing, like when I was doing 2-tier, I was trying to put 6 plants per 4x8 table. Like I was growing these massive
Oh,
honking
yes.
plants and just scrogging them
Yes.
out, like that.
I
But
love those days. I love that.
those are
Yeah.
great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What size
Yeah. It
pots?
means
Like,
I had to water a lot less frequently. So it saved me a lot of time.
yeah. Yeah. Well, what 3 gallons or?
No, they were in 20 to 25 gallons, which was very hard to get
20?
onto a second level. Yeah. It was really heavy.
That's really heavy. Like,
It was really heavy. I was like, yeah, it was like, imagine working at Costco and you had to carry a 20-gallon pot up into the second tier of Costco.
Because
I was literally using Costco racking too. Soil is heavy. Yeah, I was growing in what was I in Fox Farms Ocean Forest then too. So that's like a heavy soil. It's like got rocks in it though. It's got literal rocks in it. Yeah. So that was silly. Yeah. That was a silly time, but yeah, I did that.
No, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yeah.
We're rocking. Go ahead. Oh, we're running 10-gallon. I think we're running these plastic pots in this soil ahead of time because the stuff we were using was some older heads would know this one big mix, but they had some permit issues. Like the only soil at the time that was pre-mixed, add water. And at that time, it was the most efficient stuff that there wasn't a lot of people had their soils were a little more complicated, required those. And when this, so anyway, we had to do that, and it was like the swimming through the soil in, and you mixed it up, or you used a tumbler to mix your soil, and you carried, and it's just like, man, this better.
Yeah.
But
that's what you did. I used to get soil delivered in like big bags, like these huge tote bags.
Delivery?
And then and then I would shovel. I had like a shovel that I would fill up my pots and I'd put them on these little carts and I'd roll those gigantic pots. And then I was smart enough to at least transplant in the room instead of like trying to transplant and then haul the plants all the way and then like crush them,
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about the design and the flow of a good cultivation facility. One thing that people always F up is you want to put your mothers and your clones and your babies in the center of all your grow rooms, the most central location. Because if you're going to be dispersing them, you don't want to be rolling them like a mile to the flowering room. No.
But for me, it's like, I look at the industry and it's in this analogy, I kind of use like race cars where each team isn't going to percent, and in some cases grows, because of competition. But you're 100% right. And if you don't have the experience, you're not, you can get in a lot of, and ours is, it's funny you mentioned that because that's exactly center is propagation and cloning and dry rooms on the end.
Dry rooms on the end, because you don't want to be going past your dry room constantly, because every time you go past your dry room, you blow shit in there. Yeah.
Contamination, right? You gotta come down and check it out.
I would love to. Well, now I'm up. Yeah. now I'm up, but normally it's down. Yeah. But yeah, I would love to. Portland's actually pretty close.
Because
no, I was going to say I've spent too much time in Portland, but I won't go into that.
No, we're on the outside. We're down to the beach, so you can come. You come see us and then have fun at the beach or something.
I would love to. I love the beach in Oregon. That's like Manzanita is like one of my favorite places in the entire world. Just like, slightly less touristy than Cannon Beach.
That's Pacific City, Manzanita.
Yeah.
It's quiet and nobody's
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
And
yeah,
good weed.
Yeah.
Very good weed.
Yeah. Yes.
That I'm yelling about in this Utah Starbucks, but it's
you
not
might
the
get
best setting, but it's fine. I know they're gonna call the cops on me if I'm not careful.
Oh, man.
It's medical here. Utah has medical cannabis now, and it's only $15 to get your medical card. I did look into it, but it's not. You can't do it if you're an out-of-stater. So I don't.
That's the rule. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to go to like a high school parking lot and look for some kid trolling around outside of class.
Right. Just go knock on the head shop door. Some of you'll have.
Oh yeah, that's another tech. That's a good tech. You stand outside the glass shop and you just look like you're trying to buy weed. Just hey,
you're bound
somebody sell me weed. Yeah. I
Yeah.
always do. I even found it in New Mexico. I even found it in New Mexico because I saw some guy buying hot rolling papers, but like Black and Mild rolling. And I was like, "Do you sell weed? Could I buy some weed from you?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay."
You know.
I have a friendly face too, so
I'm terrible. I'm this, and I'm probably gonna get some flack for this one too. Really high standard grower. Like really good weed. I like my
qualitarian.
Weed to be really good. Kind of
Qualitarian. Yeah.
I like to bring my own. Pre-pack before we head out. My bag and check it.
I didn't think about it. I don't know why. Like I landed in Vegas and I went to a dispensary in Vegas, and Vegas dispensaries are so expensive and like so limited. Their weed is just not good yet. Vegas needs to step it up. But and then I just started driving and I ended up in Utah, and then I was like, oh, where's the nearest dispensary? And then I'm just so spoiled living in Washington and traveling to Oregon, traveling to California. I'm just spoiled. So I didn't even think ahead. Right? No, I didn't think about it at all. I brought like a couple disposables, but I don't know. It's not the same. Not the same. Yeah. So next time I'll know better. Yeah.
I went to show out in Florida recently and wish that I didn't want to take it. Let's give it to some locals.
Yeah.
And it was quite cross their medical. This was just side of COVID. It was the first.
Yeah.
One of the first COVID had taken over, and man, and you're like, man, it really wakes you up to the opportunity because we get complacent. We're doors all around us. This isn't, and we go to these states and they're looking at you like you're for that. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Nah, it's like no big deal.
No. Yeah.
Right.
And what was funny too is at the Vegas dispensary, I asked for tips because I was going to roll, and they didn't sell any tips, and they didn't sell a whole lot of papers. I was like, where do people buy papers? And they were like, well, they just didn't seem to understand that I wanted to roll my own joints. They wanted to sell me pre-rolls. And I was like,
why do you want
I can't. Yeah, I was like, well, I don't want to buy your seeds and stems. Like, I'm just looking at the weed that you're trying to sell me. I want to at least see the nug because I bet what's in that pre-roll is garbage. Yeah.
They hid it in the paper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it was a trip. It was a trip.
That is a trip. So what did you end up saying? Where'd you
I got a gram of Star Dog, which I knew the strain. So I was like, okay, I know I'll have a good experience with that. And then I went to a gas station and I bought Zigzags Organics. And I bought a Yeti since I got here because I needed a cup.
Yeah.
And I've been using the piece of cardboard information that comes inside my Yeti cup as crunch paper. So shout out to Yeti. Shout out to Yeti for being ideal crunch paper.
There's people around you. This is some crafty rolling.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, they're really learning a lot. They're learning the tips and tricks of the trade.
Man.
In a pinch, you can use the actual cardboard that the papers come in, but like that's really limiting. You only got 3-ish joints out of that. So, but I only got a gram.
What about? Oh, sorry. Washington.
No, you're fine.
I understand that Washington dispensaries, accessories, it's a law, right?
So anything that is sold in a Washington state dispensary has to contain at least 0.03% THC or 0.3% THC, unless it's used to consume. But if you do sell something in a cannabis dispensary and it's just paraphernalia, they're still taxing it. You still pay the taxes on it. So if you wanted to buy a pipe and the dispensary is charging you $8 for that pipe, reasonably, if they're doing like a 3 times markup, then they only paid like $1 for it, maybe. But it's because there's that 34% tax on top of it that the dispensary has to eat. Yeah.
Regulatory tax.
It's a state. Yeah, state tax, and then there's like a sin tax in there too, and it's just like it's all lumped together. It's like it comes out to around 34 with the sales. Yeah.
I mean, it gets because if at that same way in Washington, like at a head shop, or is it?
Yeah, no, at a head shop, it's specifically for dispensaries. At a head shop, you'd pay like $4 for that pipe. But I would, in an actual dispensary, you're going to pay like $8 for the same pipe. So we sell papers and tips and all that kind of stuff. But most of the time you're, smarter to go to like the corner store or a head shop and buy your paraphernalia there. But it depends. Like I do have a wholesale license. So like I can get glass for a wholesale price as opposed to, something like maybe a gas station. They can't. Yeah. So but so in Washington we're Washington too, right? We also have a lot of marketing and ancillary companies that are benefiting from the cannabis market, like the people who sell jars and the people who sell stickers and the people who sell marketing material and do that kind of thing all have a place in Washington. But the other part of it is like you're paying more per gram because you're paying for all of that material and that labor that goes into it. Because, you pay somebody, even if they're minimum wage, to put a sticker on a jar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all has a cost.
It adds up. It all has a cost. Yeah. But I mean, we employ way more people just because of that model than a deli style state does. So it's my preference. I also like to feel like I'm connected to a brand. It's like to understand their message and like why they're doing certain packaging, things like that. It's my preference, but I mean, that's what I do.
Hey,
you run a dispensary.
You and I have that in common. One of the challenges of Oregon is whereas I'm not sure as to why we're holding on to it so strongly. It makes sense to me because the pack maintain freshness, loss on the dispensary side, a net positive for them.
Yeah.
But so, in our the things that we do put in packaging are pre-rolls and that helps us with that message. And we have a club. It's our way of staying in touch with the consumer. You decide that we're always fun stuff away. But it is important. And with not just stuff, but it's us and everything else list. So advertising we want to do are out of our reach to us. IG, Insta, really difficult to us. You're probably shadow banning and the losing of accounts, and recently posted a really great PO that somebody takes them up on the offer to sit down and have that discussion. And I mean, what, why us helping our goal, and not as a community, it's definitely not helping us, but with our consumers through that, the way we've sort of worked around the deli style to see the grow and maybe push packaging a little further, because I really think it makes too much sense. It's better for the consumer.
Yeah, I mean, it does generate a lot of waste. That would be my biggest criticism. But as long as you have some kind of recycling program, then it shouldn't be an issue, right? Or it should be less of an issue.
Right. Like we use, we do use pop tops, right? Pretty standard. It's also cost effective. Ask that the company that we work with at dispensaries, and we or just point consumers to encourage. We definitely because it is how we can make this right. The packaging, I agree with you. Viable. I think as long as we lean into that will work. But it's all products, and that goes for anything. Food buy typically comes in packaging.
Yeah.
That's not just also for preserving the quality of the product. Like from to germ fungus. Like your fungi. Product intact. That's why I see it as a benefit. But hey, however Oregon wants to do it for now,
you'll accommodate. Yeah. No, I mean, I am excited to see where the industry goes. I know that every state is gonna, as long as they don't, keep themselves too restricted and not open their view and look at how other states are doing things, because that's, I think, the most vital part is just sharing information and observing how it is working in other states and how it's not working in other states. That's going to be the key to successful federal legalization. Wow, sorry, I just combined those two words. But that's where, that's my opinion. But Chris, we're 8 minutes over. So I'm really enjoying this. And I want to say thank you so much for being on here. It's been really fun. Yeah, clearly we have a lot to talk about. So maybe we'll have you back on in the future and we can talk about something different or the same stuff. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well,
different.
Yeah. Well, for everybody who joined us, thank you for joining us. Thank you for putting up with me being in a Utah Starbucks. Again, shout out to Yeti for their crutch papers. And please be mindful, do what my producers ask me to tell you to do, which is like and subscribe and reshare. I always share this on LinkedIn. That's my favorite platform that are not restrictive to cannabis companies. So shout out to LinkedIn as well. Yeah. LinkedIn doesn't mind that we sell weed.
I didn't know that.
Smoke weed or talk about weed. So LinkedIn's the best one in my opinion. But I'll be back next week. Yeah, you got to go get on LinkedIn. Chris will be on LinkedIn after this. And if anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, I always accept invitations on LinkedIn, grow my community, all those good things. So thank you, everyone. This has been season 1, episode 12, part of the North American Weed Tour. We're going almost international next year. It's almost guaranteed. So stay tuned. And thank you. Okay, bye.